Have you ever felt completely exhausted, even when you haven't physically done anything? Like there is an invisible heavy weight sitting directly on your chest the moment you wake up, draining your internal peace, stealing your daily energy, silently blocking your creative progress, and you can't even find the words to explain why. Here is the monumental truth that most people live an entire lifetime without ever realizing. Your exhaustion isn't caused by what is happening around you. It is caused by what you are still holding on to. And right now, in this exact moment, God is calling you to release it. Because until you consciously let go of the weight, your feet will remain permanently glued to the floor. In this video, we are peeling back the layers of your exhaustion to expose the 7 specific things God wants you to let go of right now. Not next week, not when your circumstances improve, and not when you suddenly feel ready. Today. These are the silent burdens, the invisible spiritual weights you've been dragging around like heavy luggage. They are actively clogging your peace, choking your personal growth, and creating a wall between you and the presence of God. But here is the beautiful reality. The exact second you open your hands and release them, the atmosphere of your life shifts. Pay incredibly close attention, because when we reach weight number 6 and weight number 7, we are going to expose the exact dual psychological traps that keep 95% of believers completely stuck in circles for decades. Let's break the cycle. The 7 silent burden, fear of the future. The first weight we carry is a deceptive one, because fear doesn't always walk into your life wearing a terrifying mask. Sometimes it disguises itself as logic. It looks like endless overthinking under the name of planning, paralyzing hesitation under the name of being careful, an obsession with trying to micromanage every single variable of tomorrow. But let's be entirely honest with ourselves. It is utterly exhausting. Your brain is trapped in a non-stop loop of worst-case scenarios, constantly whispering, what if everything goes wrong? What if I fail publicly? What if this door stays shut? Without realizing it, you are forcing yourself to live out a painful future that doesn't even exist anywhere except inside your own imagination. The kingdom reality: you are never designed to control tomorrow. You are only designed to trust the one who already holds it. When you obsess over the future, you are essentially trying to do God's job for him. You are carrying a corporate-level workload on a human scale back. That is exactly why your body feels tired. The next time your mind starts racing into a what-if downward spiral, you must interrupt the pattern. Stand your ground and state, God is already in my tomorrow. Peace doesn't come from having absolute certainty about the destination. It comes from having absolute trust in the guide. Your past mistakes. Your past carries a loud, persistent voice, and if you let it, it will set up a microphone in your mind, constantly replaying your failures on a loop. It whispers, look at what you did. You messed up too badly. You should have known better. You are permanently damaged goods. But listen to the character of Scripture. God does not communicate with his children through the language of condemnation. The text reveals that when God forgives a mistake, he erases it from the record. He doesn't store it away in a cabinet to bring it back up the next time you drop the ball. But you do. Why is it that we willingly become harsher judges to ourselves than the creator of the universe is to us? You keep replaying the old mental movies, the heavy regret, The toxic guilt, the endless cycle of if only I had chosen differently. You are actively punishing yourself today for something that God already wiped clean yesterday. Let me say this with absolute clarity. You are not defined by your absolute worst moment. You are not the person you used to be. You have grown, you have learned, you have survived, and God has already cleared out the terrain for your future. Open your hands and drop the guilt. Your past may provide context for where you've been, but it holds absolutely zero authority over where you are going. Toxic relationships. Let's address something that directly impacts your spiritual atmosphere. Not every single person who walks into your life is healthy for your soul. There are individuals who don't just consume your time, they aggressively harvest your peace. And the most dangerous part of this dynamic is that toxic relationships aren't always loud or abusive. Sometimes they are incredibly subtle. They are the quiet critics, the passive-aggressive doubters, the emotional vampires who slowly and systematically drain your creative energy, chop away at your internal confidence, distract you entirely from your divine purpose, until you wake up one morning, look in the mirror, and realize you don't even recognize the person looking back at you anymore. Divine alignments, the internal feeling, inspired, challenged, peaceful. The long-term impact propels you into your destiny. Toxic attachments, the internal feeling, anxious, drained, insecure. The long-term impact keeps you anchored to your past. Here is a hard pill to swallow. Not everyone is qualified to walk into your next season. God frequently sends people into our lives for a specific, temporary chapter. If you try to force a temporary person into a permanent position, you will block the very doors God is trying to open. Pay close attention to how your spirit reacts after you leave someone's presence. That internal barometer is telling you everything you need to know. You can love people from a distance while choosing to protect your peace up close. The deceptive need for control. The illusion of control feels incredibly safe. It acts like armor. You tell yourself that if you can just plan every conversation, fix every problem, and anticipate every crisis, you will finally be safe from pain. But deep beneath the surface, that obsession with control isn't strength at all. It is unadulterated fear. It is the subconscious, terrifying belief that, if my hands leave the steering wheel for even a second, my entire universe is going to crash and burn. But look at the design of creation. God never asked you to carry the weight of the cosmos. There is a massive, life-altering difference between responsibility and control. Responsibility means you show up, you do your absolute best, you plant the seed, and you act with integrity. Control means you are trying to manipulate the weather to force the seed to grow on your exact timeline. One creates character, the other creates chronic stress. Letting go of control does not mean you stop trying. It means you execute your part and then you step back and allow God to handle the outcome. That is where true rest lives. The trap of comparison. Comparison is a silent, creeping poison. It slips into your mind unnoticed, usually late at night while you are scrolling through a screen. It forces you to evaluate your private reality against someone else's curated public image. Suddenly, an unexplainable wave of inadequacy hits you. You feel behind, you feel like you've missed your window, you feel like you're missing out on the secret code to life. But look at the structural mathematical error you are committing. You are comparing your unedited, raw, behind-the-scenes footage to another human being's polished, high-definition highlight reel. Even worse, you are evaluating your unique, customized journey against a blueprint that God never engineered for you in the first place. Your life has its own unique ecosystem. Your growth has its own precise, divinely orchestrated timeline. The exact moment you focus your eyes on what is happening in someone else's lane, you completely lose sight of the miracles God is trying to perform in yours. Shift your focus back inward. Celebrate your micro-progress. You do not need to mimic anyone else to fulfill the specific assignment you were born to complete. Unforgiveness. Now, we have arrived at the deep waters, weight number 6. This is where millions of people lock themselves away for an entire lifetime. Unforgiveness feels completely justified. You were genuinely wronged. You were betrayed, lied to, or abandoned. Holding on to that anger feels like a form of protection, like a shield that ensures they can never hurt you like that again. But it is a profound psychological illusion. Unforgiveness isn't a shield, it is a maximum security prison where you are both the inmate and the warden. The bitter pill. Holding on to resentment is exactly like drinking a cup of poison and waiting patiently for the other person to die from it. They have moved on with their lives while you are still burning your own emotional fuel, replaying the injury. Every single time you replay that past scenario in your mind, your nervous system experiences the exact same trauma all over again. You are voluntarily keeping the wound open. God does not command you to forgive because the other party necessarily earned it or apologized. He commands you to forgive because you deserve to be free. Forgiveness does not mean you validate what they did. It doesn't mean you accept toxic behavior, and it doesn't mean you have to invite them back to your dinner table. It simply means you say, I am cutting the energetic cord. I am releasing you into God's hands because my future is far too valuable to be anchored to my resentment, self-doubt. Finally, we arrive at the ultimate boundary line. Weight number 7, self-doubt. Doubt is uniquely dangerous because it masquerades as humility or practical intelligence. It speaks in a highly reasonable, cautious tone, whispering, just wait a little longer until you have more degrees, more money, or more security. You aren't experienced enough yet. What if you crash and burn? And before you know it, months turn into years, and you are still standing in the exact same spot, stuck. Not because you lack the capability to move, but because you have completely allowed doubt to paralyze your feet. Let me tell you something with absolute certainty. That voice of disqualification is not coming from heaven. God has never waited for you to become perfectly confident before He handed you an assignment. He doesn't call the equipped, He equips the called. When He chose you for your specific purpose, He did it with a comprehensive, unvarnished look at your exact weaknesses, your hidden fears, and your personal flaws, and He still selected you. Self-doubt keeps you trapped inside the prison of your potential. Faith is the mechanism that forces you into execution. Stop waiting to feel fully ready. Start before you are ready. Even the smallest, most imperfect step forward breaks the paralyzing spell of doubt. Look closely at the entire architecture of these 7 weights. Fear traps your future. Trust frees it. Regret weaponizes your past. Grace erases it. Toxic attachments drain your energy. Boundaries protect it. Control breeds exhaustion. Surrender brings peace. Comparison steals your joy. Purpose restores it. Unforgiveness chains your soul. Forgiveness unlocks it. Doubt paralyzes your movement. Faith accelerates it. These are not minor lifestyle inconveniences. These are the literal spiritual anchors holding your life back from the abundance you were engineered to walk in. But today, you hold the keys to the lock. You can drop the baggage right now. The weight you are carrying belongs to a version of you that no longer exists. It's time to unpack. So as you close this video and step back into your world, don't ask what else you need to add to your life to find peace. Ask yourself the definitive question, what am I finally ready to drop? Because once your hands are completely empty, you are finally capable of receiving what is coming next. If your spirit recognized the truth in this message today, I want you to perform an intentional act of commitment. Go directly down to the comments right now and type 4 words, God, I'm letting go. Do not treat this as a standard comment for an algorithm. Treat it as a legal, binding declaration within your own mind that you are officially done carrying weight you were never built to shoulder. Share this video with someone in your circle who looks exhausted, because someone you love is currently drowning under a silent burden they need permission to drop. Hit that subscribe button, guard your peace, and I will see you in the very next video.